Watching the trailer for this should be forgiven for thinking this is everything Avatar should have been. Well, it turns out Valérian and the City of a Thousand Planets isn't even what Valérian and the City of a Thousand Planets should have been. Valérian and the City of a Thousand Words in the title is the latest from French legend Luc Besson, and it's something of a passion project of his. It stars Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne as two government agents tasked with getting to the bottom of a growing threat deep within Space Station Alpha, a colossal base in which thousands of species from all across the universe live, trade and share knowledge. Dane DeHaan plays the titular Valérian, which I guess would make Cara Delevingne the City of a Thousand Planets. That's some next level fat shaming. Wait till BuzzFeed gets a hold of that. Valérian starts off very strong. It opens in the modern day with a bunch of humans in a space station, and then with a montage set to David Bowie's Space Oddity, we see how that station is expanded exponentially over hundreds of years, eventually attracting the attention of alien races who settle and help grow it even further. And the amount of creativity on display is incredible. The colours are eye-poppingly vibrant, and you can just tell the designers had a blast coming up with bizarre ideas for the looks of these aliens and costumes and all sorts. In my Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review, I praised its visuals and how cool they were, and within 10 minutes Valérian makes Guardians look like an episode of The Wire. And that's not just a one-off, let's blow the whole budget on one sequence thing. From beginning to end, practically every frame of Valérian is bursting with creativity, originality and inventiveness. The costume and production design are absolutely fantastic, and I don't understand why the marketing isn't shouting as loud as they possibly can about the fact that this is basically the biggest piece of eye candy since Avatar. Now I should say, before actually sitting down to watch this film, I hadn't seen so much as a trailer, let alone a review, so I was completely blown away. For about 5 minutes, because unfortunately as soon as the plot gets going, it just as quickly goes completely off the rails and becomes nonsensical. The plot really is unintelligible at times, which is a genuine shame, although I get how this happened, because if the plot only focused on the central MacGuffin, the film would last about half an hour max. So to bulk out the runtime, the characters go on like mini missions and weird detours, and these don't always work. They're quite often visually very impressive, but they slow down the pace of the movie. However, again, very inventive. One at the beginning involves tracking down another MacGuffin from inside a busy market, which, by the way, turns out to be this weird thing that looks like if you crossed a hedgehog and Alf and then booted it up and down a lush. Also, it poops pearls, because why not? Everybody in the galaxies after this we think is at jobbies at perils pure rapido, but anyway, the catch is this market is in a completely different dimension, so the characters have to wear special gear in order to be able to see and interact with things in the other dimension, and the camera is constantly flying through and cutting between these dimensions while the action is happening. And that's exactly the kind of unhinged creativity that I want to see in a flamboyant sci-fi. Others, not so much. There's a scene where Ethan Hawke gets a glorified cameo as a space cowboy pimp, and Valérian makes him tell a shape-shifting prostitute Rihanna to give him a lap dance for about 5 minutes straight so that he can hire her to infiltrate an enemy base. See, it's already getting confusing, and that's about 15 minutes of a nearly 2.5 hour movie. Valérian and the City of a Thousand Planets is based on a hugely influential French comic called Valérian and Laureline, which ran for about 40 years. There's a wealth of source material to choose from, so it's annoying that they've decided to go with a bland story that's full of plot holes, and the twist you can see coming a mile off. The burden of carrying this plot falls on the shoulders of a woefully miscast Dane DeHaan. He's been decent in things before, but he doesn't feel right as a supposedly badass space James Bond. We're supposed to just believe he's the super suave, formidable soldier archetype and the winner of the universe's next top shagger or something, but we don't get any evidence of this. We only know because the film makes a point of telling us like 50 times in a row. It doesn't help that the relationship between him and Cara Delevingne has less chemistry than 2 hours of maths class. So much so that it's honestly not even that clear until near the end of the film whether or not they're actually in a relationship, and he's just joking when he suggests things like getting married. In the end, with Valérian and the City of a Thousand Planets, I was very underwhelmed. It's like that ex that you still follow on Instagram. On the outside, it's very pretty, but on the inside, there is nothing going on there to keep you coming back for more. There's this constant weird duality throughout of vivid, screaming visuals bursting with life, but no life in the story whatsoever. However, I will say this, about halfway through, I realised something. It's a kids movie, and when you think of it like that, it actually kind of makes sense. It's a big, expensive, grown-up cartoon with funky aliens and rampant creativity. Just a kids movie with Rihanna as a prostitute. Luc Besson has clearly put his everything into the world building and design of Valerian, and his passion for the source material does show through. It's just a shame that the story he's went with lets it down dramatically, because if you take away the grandiose visuals, what's left is an incoherent and frankly boring story. But huge props for even trying something this ambitious. I'm giving Valerian and a City of a Thousand Planets 3 popcorns. Thanks very much for watching my review of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. If you can share this video with a friend, that would be a huge help, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. You can click that box there to see my latest video, or you can click that box there to see all my latest reviews. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.